Hey, so time to review Dragon Ball Super Chapter 38. Um, Initial impressions of the not initial, but like overall impressions of the chapter. I don't know. I hesitate to say this was a good or a bad chapter. Um, so I think I'm not really going to rate the quality of the chapter overall. I think even though I think that's something I probably should do, but I don't know. I'm just not going to. But what I will say is that this chapter didn't want to. It didn't leave me wanting to like bash my head through a fucking wall. At least overall. Um, so yeah, that's what I can say about it. Um, as usual, we'll talk about what I thought it did good, what I think it did worse, and what it kept. Um, let me drink some water before I. Okay. So a lot of the good I think that this chapter did had to do with the eliminations of the universes. Mainly because a lot of the powers that the various combatants showed in the anime version were just whack, totally don't seem like powers that should work on people as strong as Jiren and Goku and Vegeta and Hit and the like. So for instance, Ganos being eliminated, right? That means his dumb chicken form isn't there anymore, and that's a good thing because if you guys remember one of my criticisms that I had about like some of these different people are that especially the aliens that show up in this arc are that they look too much like Earth animals, and if something looks too much like it's from Earth, then it makes it less believable as an actual alien. And yes, I know there's the dragons that are in the Dragon Balls, there are Uzarus, etc. But you know, at least to me, those seem like alien-like beings. But something like Ganos that doesn't seem like an alien too much to me. I mean, I can see it can sort of remind me of an alien, I guess. I mean, him more so than some of the other shit that we get. Like, I would believe like Ganos is more of an alien than say Ramush, the universe 10's god of destruction. But it's still like too Earth-like for me. So that's a good thing that he was eliminated because he doesn't have his dumb chicken form. And him being eliminated means that there is no dumb Roshi scene of him almost dying and making Goku cry and sniffle, and there's no him saying Goku and Krillin taught him to never stop training, even though he was the one that told him that during the 22nd World Tournament. All that dumb shit that came with that episode, all that dumb shit that came with Roshi's quote-unquote characterization and him constantly using the Mafuba over and over again. That's all gone. So that's a positive of Ganos being eliminated. Um, Anilaza, he doesn't have wings. Um, Universe 4 and Universe 2 being eliminated. It's the same thing with Ganos. A lot of the dumb powers and situations are gone, like Kaba going Super Saiyan 2 against Mona, or Krillin defeating Majora, what's her name? Kawai's pervert shots against Roshi when she was so disgusted by Roshi being a pervert that she jumped off the stage willingly. Shansa's and Dokori's illusory techniques, those are gone. Um, like the other universes, like I said, also Universe 2, their elimination is awesome because a lot of the, like with Universe 4, Ganos, etc., Universe 3 also is eliminated, but a lot of the other inappropriate powers, like the Tuffle and the other two donning, what's her name, Ribrianne's and Rosie's and Kakunsa's, I think her name is, like those three, like their maiden costumes, that's all gone. So a lot of basically the eliminations, the good thing that the eliminations of the four universes this chapter does is that a lot of the stupid powers are gone. Um, so that's a good thing. But we can I guess I can say here. But a bad thing, obviously, is that on the flip side, when you have four universes being eliminated in a chapter, it makes them useless. And again, the actual anime didn't really make them all that useful either. I guess technically it made them useful because they made the hero struggle and everything, but the context and the situations on why they made them struggle or how they made them struggle made no sense. So, and honestly, like I didn't. Here's the thing: if you're going to make a multiversal tournament where your two strongest characters are two Saiyans who trained with the gods of destruction and have basically been able to make a god of destruction use 70% of their power, you know, and then you're going to put in 80 other, or excuse me, like 70 other people to compete with them or try to compete with them. It's got to be believable. And looking at people like Mona, looking at people like Koei, Shansa, like I'm not going to believe that this is capable of that, because one, the destruction is not, the destruction and the techniques and the power are not representative of that. You know, I expect like planets and galaxies and shit to be exploding. And of course you can hold restrictions like, oh, this is made of super Kachin and everything's, you know, so the destruction is contained, but it just goes to show that, you know, having a big ass tournament like this is exactly the problem, not only with the arc, but with Modern Shonen. And I've always said, and not only me, but other people that I follow, like That Anime Snob, and it's something that I've noticed. You know, when you Modern Shonen, it tends to focus like on a big group of characters, big group of people, and because of that, the time taken to characterize each person, like say like in 100, like a group of 100 people, you know, it's tough to do that and to make everyone seem relevant and all them have them do something without the length of the story being obscenely long. Really the only series that I know that does it well is probably One Piece. But yeah, on the flip, so like I said, like the universe eliminations, it goes to show like how useless these fighters are, and why a tournament with 80 people in the first place was a terrible idea. That should have never happened. Dragon Ball's strength was that it always focused on a few characters at a time, which is why, you know, in the Androids arc and the Boo arc, it only they had the villains, whether it was Cell or Boo, go through the entire cast before being defeated, because it made you more believable of them as a threat. You know, it made you like, God damn, this motherfucker's strong as shit. He beat everyone. So yeah, there's there. Obuni gets eliminated, so Universe 10 is gone. So it's 4 is gone, 3 is gone, 2 is gone, and 10 are gone. And then 9 was already eliminated, right? So the only ones left are 7, 6, and 11. So Universe 6 is probably going to go next chapter, or the chapter after that. But yeah, Obuni is eliminated. He's the last fighter, and kind of like the anime, he's kind of given like a little more focus than the other Universe 10 fighters, kind of. It's not so much, but his dumb power of like having like illusory feints, that's not in here too. And the reason, obviously, like that's a dumb power is because one, it just doesn't make any sense. How it seems like an oddly specific ass ability that it's something that you'd find like in, it's something, that power is kind of like a secondary effect that you'd expect like on a Hunter x Hunter character. Not, you know, like Dragon Ball power should be like the Kamehameha or Cell's ability to absorb, you know, something like that. Not fucking illusory feints. That makes no sense. That's almost like a secondary tactic rather than like an actual power. So that dumb power is not here. And the other thing that I also liked was actually, before I get to that, I want to also, some Universe 6 people were eliminated too, the Namekians. That was good because it removes the fanfic idea of fusing with like 100 or 1,000 Namekians. So anytime you've read like a Dragon Ball fanfic, you've heard about like all, I'm sure you've come across like different Dragon Ball fanfics where there's like this random Namekian and he goes, or she goes, whatever it is, and they fuse with like 100 or 1,000 or 1,000,000 Namekians to become super strong to challenge Goku and Vegeta and Gohan, because they're like incredibly powerful Saiyans. I know Dragon Ball Multiverse did that, so that fanfic idea is not prevalent in the manga version of Super, because they were already eliminated. So that was a good thing. But as I said, the flip side is that it just goes to show like how useless these fighters are. They were just literally created to be not eye candy, but just created to be there, just to be eliminated, and it sucks that that's what's going on. So yeah, that's basically the positives that I have to say. A lot of the dumb powers that were in the anime are not in the manga version, and yeah. But on the flip side, it just goes to show like why this arc and these people shouldn't have been created in the first place. Two other things that I liked was Gowasu saying bye when he was eliminated. If you see the panel where he's killed, the way that he says bye is actually kind of sad, to be honest. At least in my opinion, it is. And for me, I was trying to figure out like why it was, and I think it's the way that Toyotaro drew Gowasu's eyes. I still think the character is nothing to write home about. He's still a dumb character. There's nothing like really like noteworthy about his character. But even though I feel that way about him, it's still kind of sad to see him go the way that he did. Not kind of sad is the key phrase there. So yeah, I like that, and then I also like the panel of Kafla shrugging. So Kafla eliminates one or three, I think. Yeah, three of the other Pride Troopers at once she enters the picture. And after she does that, she looks back at the Pride Troopers and gives like a shrug. And I thought that was really great personally. There was because it was such a small moment, but there was so much personality and character in that particular. It was like that was something like I would expect to see like if I was reading like Dragon Ball like when it was running in Jump. I would expect like a character to be able to do that. Like it just feels so, I don't know, full of character. And it's a very small moment. It's not like a very noteworthy moment or anything like that. I mean, it's getting meme that panel's getting memed a lot on Twitter, but I thought that shrug, like just the way it happened, that whole thing in itself was just great. So those are the positives I have to say about the chapter. Now we're going to talk about the things that this kept, that were in which presumably were in the original draft and that were kept in the anime version. So the two things were Anilaza and Kafla were kept. So, like I said before, Universe 3 being eliminated, how they were, means there are no dumb abilities like, a robot having iron claws and such. But again, like I was saying, it also goes to show how useless they were and why this whole arc shouldn't have happened to begin with. Having regular robots fight Saiyans and such is retarded and makes no sense from a power scaling standpoint when looking at Dragon Ball as a whole. Not necessarily robots. I mean, if you're going to have robots be able to fight Goku and Vegeta, and no, I'm not talking about the fucking androids. You got to explain like why they are that strong. Because in 16's and 19's case, I can get it because 19 can absorb energy. He was created by Dr. Gero, who's on the same level of genius as Bulma's dad and Bulma herself. And he spent all this time creating Cell and cultivating so I get it. I understand why Android 16 can be as strong as he can be, considering who his creator was. On the other hand, I don't understand like why Paparoni and his various robots are as strong as fucking, I don't know, Gohan or whoever. Makes no sense. And if they are as strong, I expect to see feats that are capable of showing why they or how and why they are that strong. But Anilaza's design is kept, and again, I just think it's a very bad design. It just doesn't scream Dragon Ball anything. It's really the face, I think. The face is just so bland. Kafla herself is kept, and this is terrible because fusion is allowed because it's fun, and the Omni King's allowed because it's fun. And I admit, not that I admit, I am wrong about it, because I thought Kafla was going to be a Toei only thing, and it wasn't. So yeah. It's not a Toei only thing, it's in the manga too. But what is Toei only was the base form. The base form for Kafla, at least so far, is Toei only. So, yeah, I expect it to be Toei. Yeah, so in a sense, I was pseudo right, I guess, because one of her forms is Toei only. So, yeah. So yeah, those two things are kept, and now we're going to talk about what the manga did worse with this chapter for the arc. So let's just go down on my notepad to the various bullet points. So, the bad thing over here was actually Universe 4. One of the things that I found bad was how quickly Universe 4 was eliminated. So, the elimination itself was just as bad as it was in the anime. And again, it's a good thing because all the useless powers are not prevalent in this version of the story. But the bad thing about this is that they were eliminated earlier. And the reason why I think this is even more worse than it should be is because Kitella himself seems like such a Toriyama-like character. He's like this cunning. He seems like when you look at him, if you just see Toriyama's character design for Kitella, like in his art style, you would assume that this is like a very fucking like cunning, devious sort of like mouse tiny character, and you would expect him to be likable and him to like snicker and all that shit. And to me, that is a very Toriyama-like character because he's very like ironic and he likes to like make characters like that like heroes and shit. So to me, he would be like the perfect main. Kitella would be like the perfect main character, like in a Toriyama like one-shot or gag comic or something like that. And I'm sure Toriyama would have done more with him had he been writing in his prime, like during the 1980s and 1990s, even the 2000s. and Toyotaro and Toei weren't fucking everything up, like, or Super in itself just wasn't shit. So that's the reason why I think that's one thing this chapter did worse, by having Universe 4 first being eliminated. Then Gowasu has this dumb, oh my god, this just made me laugh. Gowasu apologized to Abuni because he says he should have focused on physical training. And honestly, like, damn, I drank that for a while. Yeah, okay. Honestly, at this point, nothing surprises me anymore. But it's really like when you go back and you read it when you're just not tired of the bullshit, it's just so like, what the fuck? What the you should have focused on physical training? I mean, it's not even it's not even anger inducing at this point. It's more like it's like in Team 4-Star, right? Remember Team 4-Star Vegeta in episode 8 when he was constantly listening to Nappa, and then in episode 8 he started bleeding. He had an aneurysm. He bled from his nose when he realized how stupid Nappa was. That's the kind of reaction that I have when I heard Gowasu say we should have focused on physical training. And I get it. There are types of mental training. There's image training. Technically, at least within the context of Super, Frieza did it in the Cocoon, but it was just so stupid. That was just like insult. Like, what the fuck? That was just so. That line should never touch like a fucking Dragon Ball story ever, but it did. He should have focused on physical training? What the fuck? And then Obuni responds like so retardedly. He goes like, "I'm thankful to Universe 10's gods because your speeches about the heart made me feel better about my fate." What the fuck? His loss was so bad too. He was like, "Long live Universe 10," and then Kale in her Super Saiyan Berserk form, or I guess Legendary Super Saiyan, which I'll talk about right after this point, that was garbage as fuck too. And like I already said, like every universe in this chapter that was eliminated, it goes to show how useless not only the characters are, but the arc is. The tournament in itself is just a bad idea. And now we go to some more dumb shit. Toyotaro makes this transformation fucking retarded by calling this the Legendary Super Saiyan. Obviously, this is bad, and it's been bad ever since the Broly movie because, again, the Legendary Super Saiyan isn't a form within the canon. The Legendary Super Saiyan is just talking about the original Super Saiyan form and how it appears every 1,000 years. It's meant to mythologize it. That's it. But the other reason that this is bad, right? So that's one reason it's bad. The Legendary Super Saiyan being like an actual form. That's just fucking stupid. But the other reason this is bad is because Kaba himself had no idea what a Super Saiyan was at all. He didn't know what a fucking Super Saiyan was. When he fought Vegeta in the Versus Universe 6 arc, he was like, what is that transformation? They had no idea what a Super Saiyan was. And now all of a sudden he knows about the Legendary Super Saiyan, the demonic Saiyan that appears like every 1,000 years? That's a fucking plot hole. That's a straight up plot hole. And apparently he somehow knows that she'll self-destruct as well. And actually before I continue, right, I want to go and find Herms, right? I want to go to his thing. I want to go to his Twitter. And I want to find something, right? Because he had this tweet, right? About like, so I'm reading Viz's translation, right? Right? And I actually want to bring this up. So in Japanese, Kaba says Legendary Saiyan, but the Viz translation changes this to Legendary Super Saiyan. Sounds minor, but it was a whole plot point earlier that Kaba and the other Universe Saiyans had never heard the term Super Saiyan before meeting Goku and Co. So technically, I guess I can't really call this a bad thing because it's more like a translation error on the part of Viz by calling it the Legendary Super Saiyan. But it's just something that I felt like I should have brought up anyway. And I think there was one other thing that Erms was like talking about on. Okay, no, okay, this is all past shit. Okay, never mind. But yeah, so there's that, right? Vegeta's analysis of Kale's moves when she's fighting the Pride Troopers, that's so fucking stupid also, because Legendary Super Saiyan is not the same as Super Saiyan Stage 3, god damn it. So if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, he says that Kale's moves are easier to read because she's slow and beefy. But the thing is, that's not what the Legendary Super Saiyan is. Her form isn't Super Saiyan Stage 3. That's not what it is. She's not even that fucking buff. Jiren is more fucking buff than her. How the fuck is she that? Dude, Gohan looks like he's as buff as fucking Kafla. Or not Kafla, sorry, Kale. So that was stupid. The Pride Troopers being able to deal with Kale because of teamwork, that's trash considering the difference in power. And I already know someone's going to bring up in the comments, right? I already know someone's going to bring up in the comments, oh, but what about Goku and Piccolo versus Raditz or the Z Fighters versus the Cell Juniors? You want to know what the difference is there. Okay, so here's the difference, right? And I get this is like a problem, right? This is like something that people just don't seem to understand with respect to Z and even Dragon Ball, and they think that it's okay in Super. So here's the thing. When you have a super strong character, right, show up, right, out of the blue, he's like, so let's say this is after Boo. There's like a completely new character that goes and just wrecks Super Saiyan 3, right? And Super Saiyan 3 Goku and, I don't know, Ultimate Gohan, right, have to work together to defeat this new character, right? And Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks. All three of them have to work together, and Vegeta have to work together. Actually, no. Let's leave Vegeta out because he's like a Super Saiyan 2 after the Boo arc. He's not really all that strong. He's not really comparable to them, but we'll say Goku, Gotenks, and Gohan, right? Those three have to fight together, even though they're much weaker, to defeat this new character, right, who appears after Boo. Now, the reason that would be okay is because Goku, Gotenks, and Gohan are already established as the top 3 strongest fighters, right? And I know there's this whole debate about who is stronger and who's who, and I've talked about it, but in whatever order it is, right, those 3 are the strongest. Those are the 3 strongest fighters after the Boo arc, right? Not counting Vegeta going, surpassing the power of a Super Saiyan 3, right? Surpassing the power of Goku when Beerus slaps Bulma, which obviously makes no sense, but if this were like a competently told story, if Goku, Gohan, and Gotenks were to team up to fight this person who was stronger than Boo and actually defeat him, that would be okay. Now the reason is, one, the villain that shows up, right, is a new character. It's a new character. It's a completely new character, right? It's not like it's this old character like Frieza who just came up and trained like for like this inordinately small amount of time, and the training wasn't shown, and it's now all of a sudden like jumping fucking characters that were much stronger than him, right? It's not something like that. It's a completely new character, so I can buy it. The second thing is that Goku, Gotenks, and Gohan are established as the top 3 at the time. This isn't Tien, Yamcha, and Krillin going and fighting fucking, or no, I should say Yamcha, Chaozu, and Tien, because those are the 3 weakest humans, or Mr. Satan, whoever, going and fighting this new character and then winning that way, right? The reason that would be bad is because these humans, right, are so low in the fucking pecking order compared to hundreds of characters in the Dragon Ball verse, right? Within the canon, quote-unquote canon story, right? But in the case of Goku, Gotenks, and Gohan doing it, because it's right after Boo, and because those are the 3 strongest characters, that would be okay. Now, the Pride Troopers doing this to Kale makes no sense because, I mean, yes, they are new characters, right? And yes, they are more than 3 characters. They're more than 2 characters, like Goku and Piccolo versus Raditz. But the fact is, Kale trumps them in power so fucking massively. So fucking massively. Even Dispo this chapter says that all 7 of them are basically worthless. They ain't worth shit. They're probably like Krillin tier, and they're being, yeah, I would say Krillin tier because is he the weak? No, Tien is the weakest. Yeah, Tien is the weakest member of the squad, right? No. Well, in the anime, somehow Roshi is stronger than Tien, which doesn't make sense to me. So actually, no, it should be Roshi is the weakest, then Tien, then Krillin, and then if this were competently told, then 18, then Piccolo or 17, I assume. Right? Am I forgetting anyone? 17, 18, Piccolo, Roshi, Tien, Krillin. Yeah, and then Gohan would be 4th. Frieza would be 3rd if we... since he has the gold and stuff, and then Goku and Vegeta. So yeah, that would be the ranking. But anyway, the point is, when you are so small, like if teamwork would work like that, then fucking Z Fighters should have like beaten One Cell Jr. back like during the Androids arc, and you know what I mean? It doesn't make any fucking sense. So yeah, that was bad. Kale and Cauliflower become Kefla. How are you? Well, the sub says they say Kefla, but it's spelled with an A. So I'm just gonna say Kefla, like how the Japanese people say it. Kefla. Kale and Cauliflower become Kefla. And I already said like that was something that kept. But the reason this is bad is because they fuse as Super Saiyans. And if you remember what the Elder Kaioshin told Goku and to when he fuses with the Batara with Gohan is to not become a Super Saiyan because it'll shorten your fucking lifespan. But they do that anyway, like what Goku Black and did with Zamasu as a Super Saiyan Rose. So that doesn't make any fucking sense. That's stupid. And then Viz also translates this whole thing as a Kefla instead of Kafla. They spell it with like an E instead of an A. And spelling it with an A is the correct spelling. So that's another bad. It's not really so much to do with the story so much as it has to do with the translation. So yeah. But anyway, that's my review. Tell me what you guys thought about it. And that Universe Survival arc is still coming. I was actually working on it today, and I'm probably going to work on it right after I finish this chapter. I think I'm like 50% done with it. There's just like a lot of information to sift through. So yeah, but yeah, thank you guys for watching this video. I'll see you guys when I see you.